And the real liability in letting Bear Stearns fail was that it would bring down every broker-dealer, every investment bank, every commercial bank on Wall Street. My contention would be the same with Freddie and Fannie, that the real reason they were saved is not to bail out the homeowner, but because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are inextricably linked to the Merrill Lynches of the world and the Citibanks and what have you. Would you agree with that mad cow hypothesis?
Oh, absolutely. Whether you call it the mad cow or you call it the sheep theory, where if they all go over the cliff, someone's going to bail them out, right?
Yes.
But absolutely, you're absolutely 100% correct, because the facts speak for it. The facts speak for what you're saying. But also, look what they tried to do. They said they knew that the public would never accept a bailout of Fannie or Freddie. So they had to provide themselves with the political cover. So what did they do? They put together a scheme, really a scheme, that says, oh, well, people will be able to refinance their loans. And we're going to do this on $300 billion through the FHA to do that. And boy, this is going to help 400,000 people. Well, in fact, it's going to help nobody, because virtually no one will qualify for a refinance because the underwriting requirements are so restrictive, and because a lot of people have second mortgages, and the second mortgage holder will not forgive that debt. But even with that, if you ask the head of FHA, Brian Montgomery, and you ask the new head of HUD, and you ask them when this program will be implemented, they'll tell you, because they told the housing counseling roundtable that it wouldn't be implemented until the middle of next year. And certainly Congress knew this. You know, the leadership in Congress knew this. The administration knows this. So they can't even. So while this program will be totally ineffective, it won't even be out there till next year. Well, that's just providing. That's the worst form of politics. It's providing political cover, because they knew they couldn't get away just on its own, the bailout of Fannie and Freddie for $800 billion and maybe over $1 trillion.
And it's made that much crueler by the fact that this is offering false hope to desperate people.
Well, it's even crueler than that. But you know, the new head of HUD, Steve Pressman, he should know better. He should have a new standard. But the fact of the matter, there is a solution. I mean, that's what is so incredible, that the solution is very simple, and that is, don't think about refinancing, because when you think about refinancing, you know, it's a new loan. So what happens is people's credit scores are too low, the property values are too low, the debt-to-income ratios are too high, and you got the second mortgage. But what is the answer? The answer is to restructure the loan, staying with the current servicer, the current investor. Because if you do that, all those limitations go away. You don't have to worry about those three requirements or the second mortgage. All you're saying is, look at that homeowner's budget. Look what they can afford. Look at their net income, their required monthly liabilities, their required expenses. What do you have available for a mortgage payment? So let's say that mortgage payment that you can pay is $1,500. Then you reduce the interest rate permanently, or the outstanding balance permanently, to say, okay, 5%, 4%, 3%, whatever works. And that makes sense for all the parties. It makes sense for the investors because it's some return. It makes sense for the homeowners because they get to stay in their home. It makes sense for the communities, and it makes sense for the American taxpayer, because that solution requires not $1 of taxpayer money. So what it requires is the regulators to stand up, and Congress to stand up and saying, we require you servicers, investors, to do this.
So, Bruce, are you saying that the free market actually doesn't work?
The free market doesn't work. You know, we have gotten to a point where we've got corporate socialism. You know, that is, you know, it's outrageous. You know, because, you know, you've got the servicers out there who's saying we make more money by letting these loans go to foreclosure than to help homeowners. They're not willing to staff up. They're not willing to staff up. I mean, we got to get down to organizing. I mean, when NACA does it, I mean, what are we going to do? Those 20,000 people, and remember, we're doing this over 10, we're taking the Home Save event we did in Washington with over 20,000 participants, and we're taking this around the country, one city every weekend for 10 weekends in a row. And what are we going to do? We're going to have everybody call their congressman and call their senator and have their friends call their congressmen, call their senators, and their neighbors and their family and saying, when are you going to get that Wells Fargo, that Washington Mutual to restructure my loan? I want you to call the head of Wells Fargo, John Stumpf, and I want you to get him to restructure my loan. If not, we're putting out his home addresses. You know, he owns a lot of property, so you have to knock on a lot of doors to find out where he's living that day. But the fact of the matter is to say, hey, John Stumpf, when are you going to restructure my home? Because I'm looking at your house. You're doing pretty well, my friend.
Bostonian of the Year. You're the guy. I think we're going to make you an honorary Ukian of the Year. Bruce, we need a battle plan. Give it to me. Where on the website? I love participatory democracy. I love Jeffersonian democracy. You embody it, man. Where can our listeners go? What website? Where have you published this battle plan to bring it to corporate America?
Sure. Go to our website, naca.com, www.naca.com. And, you know, if anybody has an at-risk mortgage, that, you know, you're an at-risk homeowner, that you can't afford the mortgage payment, we're going to work with you to get an affordable mortgage payment. It's personal. It's personal. Their CEOs and their supporters in Congress and the administration have to be held personally responsible. So, you know, in a nonviolent but certainly confrontational way, we're going to go after them to hold them accountable. So, yes, or people can call our toll-free number at, 888-302-NACA, 888-302-6222. But the best way is on the web at naca.com, because we got to get down to taking these guys on the grassroots level, because we know that these senators and congressmen, they only visit their districts. Well, we live there. So maybe if we're not welcome in Washington when we go and visit them, they may not be welcome when they do their town meetings and they want our votes over the next 3 or 4 months.
Power to the people, brother. Keep up the fight. You're the man. This is exactly what we should be doing. Again, after my trips to Washington, I am shocked. I'm disgusted by what Congress doesn't know. I mean, even good people, even guys like Chris Dodd and Barney Frank, if you put a gun to their head, they couldn't write one paragraph about swaps and derivatives or prime brokers or any of the other ways that Wall Street has reinvented itself over the last 10 years, and that is basically facilitating all this corporate socialism. I want to, again, thank you for being on the show, sir. One more time, repeat your website and your toll-free number.
Sure. And it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you very much. NACA.com, NACA.com, toll-free, 888-302-NACA, 888-302-6222. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We're going to have your colleague, Reverend Hagler, on in a second.
And we're tuned to KZYX and listening to us out of the Ukiah studio today. If you have questions or comments, you can email them to dj@kzyx.org. We're going to take a quick break here, musical interlude, and get our next guest, Reverend Gaylord Hagelin, on the line. All right, we're back.
We just had Bruce Marks on the phone. He's the director of the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. Once again, they're offering help to homeowners who may be upside down on their mortgages. And